Your grandfather crossed Europe in a Willys Jeep to win a world war. That vehicle was so simple, rugged, and indestructible that it could be fixed with just a hammer and a piece of wire in the middle of the mud. Today, you can barely take your $60,000 Jeep to the grocery store without a warning light popping up on the dashboard. What happened to the greatest American legend? This is the autopsy of an icon dying right now. The roar of a brave engine has been replaced by annoying electronic beeps. Raw steel was swapped for cheap plastic and low-quality components from overseas. Jeep isn't just changing its product line. It is committing actual corporate suicide in the name of quick profits and quarterly dividends. If you feel like the brand betrayed its own history, you are not alone in this outrage. Let's understand how the king of the off-road went broke. Welcome to Billion-Dollar Failures. Today, we're going to pop the hood and show all the strategic dirt that the Stellantis group tries to hide behind expensive commercials. This is the story of how mindless greed transformed the legendary king of the trails into a shopping mall accessory that breaks down at the first puddle of mud. Fasten your seatbelts, if your transmission allows it, because today's analysis goes deep into this fall. Back in 1941, a Jeep wasn't a car. It was an essential tool for freedom. It was born in the mud of the trenches, with no doors, no luxury, but with a mechanical soul that no amount of money could buy. It was the ultimate symbol of raw American strength and engineering prowess that won battles. Every single bolt was designed to last longer than the soldier driving it. It was the absolute perfection of pure mechanics. For many decades, owning a Jeep meant being part of a worldwide brotherhood. The famous Jeep wave wasn't just a marketing gimmick. It was a sign of mutual respect between explorers. If you saw another Jeep on the road, you knew instantly that the driver valued durability and adventure over any social status. It was a tribe united by grease and mud, something that modern brands have completely lost. Now, that brotherhood is falling apart. But the world changed forever. Jeep was passed from hand to hand until it landed in the lap of Stellantis, a global conglomerate focused on volume and cutting costs. That was the moment when steel started turning into plastic. For the executives in Paris and Turin, the Jeep brand was just a cash cow to be milked dry. They decided they didn't need to make indestructible cars anymore. They just needed the cars to look tough in commercials. To those corporate bean counters, tradition is just a line on a spreadsheet that can be deleted. They moved production to cheaper facilities and began using parts that were never designed for the extreme stress of off-roading. Every decision was made to boost the bottom line for the next quarter, ignoring the long-term damage to the brand's reputation. They are selling the heritage piece by piece until there is nothing left but a name. But this short-sighted strategy led to a massive engineering blunder that is costing the company billions of dollars in repairs right now. I am talking about specific mechanical failures that are keeping Jeeps in the shop for weeks or even months. I will show you exactly what is happening inside the service departments and why dealership owners are losing their minds over this mess. The secret behind the curtain is finally coming out now. Reliability reports from Consumer Reports consistently place Jeep at the very bottom of the rankings year after year. We are seeing engines that overheat for no reason, transmissions that hesitate in traffic, and electronic systems that seem to have been designed to fail the day after the warranty expires. It is a nightmare for the average owner who just wants a vehicle that works. Quality control has become a thing of the past here. Back in the day, a Jeep was the vehicle you bought to pass down as an heirloom to your son. Today, it has become the car you pray every single day to sell before the suspension starts knocking or the warranty expires. Consumer trust, which took over 80 years to build with sweat and iron, evaporated in just 5 years of mismanagement. The damage to the brand's image is simply fatal. It is a heartbreaking end for a legendary name. Jeep arrogantly decided it wanted to be the new BMW of the off-road world. They launched the Grand Wagoner with price tags that soar past $100,000. The big problem is that a high-end luxury customer will not accept a car that spends more time inside a repair shop than in their own garage. They tried to charge elite prices while delivering a mediocre mechanical experience full of serious flaws. It is a total disaster. While desperately trying to be luxurious, the engineers forgot the basics of engineering. They started using shared platforms with low-cost Italian compact cars. Your robust off-roader now shares vital components with tiny cars made only for the narrow, paved streets of Europe. This dilution of the brand's DNA is exactly what is driving away the purists who have always been the foundation of Jeep. The legend is being slowly stripped away. The result of all this neglect is visible in terrifying numbers. Between 2024 and 2020-5, Jeep's inventory reached record levels in America. Thousands of units are sitting on dealership lots, rotting under the sun and rain, simply because the consumer finally woke up to reality. Nobody wants to pay top dollar for a promise of adventure that leaves you stranded on the side of the road. The party is over for them. The average price of a Jeep has skyrocketed by more than 40% in a very short amount of time. They literally kicked out the middle-class adventurer, who was the heart of the company, to try and seduce the big city millionaire. The calculation error was brutal. The millionaire demands a perfection that Stellantis cannot deliver on its current assembly lines. They got stuck in a dangerous limbo between luxury and total junk. Do you think all of this is just internet hype? Then wait until you find out what is happening to the resale value of these cars in the used market. If you had the misfortune of buying a new Jeep in recent years, know that your money is melting faster than ice in the Arizona desert. This depreciation is the final punishment for those who trusted a brand that decided to ignore its own quality. It is a financial hole with no escape. The betrayal of the fan base was deep and calculated. The legendary trail-rated badge, which used to be a certificate of honor earned through testing, has been turned into a 50-cent plastic sticker. Stellantis sacrificed the prestige of the brand to save the group's financial balance sheet. They are riding on the fame of the past while building a mediocre present. It is an insult to every veteran who ever drove a real military Jeep. The brand that survived World War II and countless global crises is now losing ground to rivals like Toyota and the new Ford Bronco. Why is this happening? Because those brands understood that the modern customer wants honesty and reliability, not just digital screens and fancy lighting. Jeep owners are jumping ship in record numbers because they are tired of being treated like an ATM for a company that does not respect them at all. The Jeep Avenger and the Renegade are the perfect examples of this identity crisis. These are basically city cars dressed up as warriors. They have the rugged look, but they absolutely do not have the strength or the mechanical soul. It is like wearing heavy-duty hiking boots just to walk on your living room carpet. By trying to be everything to everyone, Jeep has become nothing to the people who actually care about off-roading nowadays. Imagine the sheer frustration of a 50-year-old driver who saved money his whole life to finally own a Wrangler, only to find out the roof leaks and the dashboard freezes in the first week. This is not just bad luck. It is a systemic lack of respect for the consumer. People are spending their hard-earned savings on a dream, but Stellantis is delivering a nightmare wrapped in an iconic grille. The disappointment is reaching a peak today. Jeep is now desperately trying to push the electrification agenda with its new 4xe models. But the obvious question remains: how can the consumer trust an extremely complex hybrid system coming from a company that cannot even get a parking sensor or a simple infotainment screen right? Technical distrust is the biggest barrier Jeep faces today to survive in the future. They are building on sand, and the tide is coming in fast. The used car market is currently flooded with late-model Jeeps that people are desperate to get rid of. The primary reason? A massive fear of the maintenance costs once that warranty period ends. The brand has essentially turned into a high-priced, long-term rental for anyone who doesn't want a permanent headache in their driveway. People are realizing that owning a modern Jeep is a financial gamble that they are likely to lose today. Online enthusiast forums are absolutely on fire with complaints. The traditional sense of community has been replaced by a shared feeling of deep regret. The legendary Jeep wave is dying out because owners are too busy looking at the tow truck hauling their vehicle away. When your fan base stops waving and starts complaining to lawyers, you know your brand is in serious trouble. The loyalty is gone, replaced by bitter frustration fast. The truth is that Stellantis completely ignored the DNA of the brand. They mistakenly believed that the logo was more important than the actual product. But in the real world, a chrome logo will not pull you out of a mud hole, and it definitely won't get you to work on a Monday morning when the engine refuses to start. They traded authentic engineering for flashy marketing, and now the market is finally pushing back very hard indeed. The CEO of the brand has changed. The marketing campaigns have changed. But the fundamental problem remains exactly the same: mediocre manufacturing quality. They are cutting costs in the places where the customer feels it the most. From thin interior plastics to poorly soldered circuit boards, the evidence of cheapness is everywhere you look. They are trying to hide a budget car under a premium price tag, and it is failing badly. Jeep has lost what Americans call radical authenticity. Without that truth in the product, it becomes just another generic brand of expensive and problematic SUVs in a market saturated with much better and more reliable options. The soul of the Wrangler was sold in exchange for a profit spreadsheet that is now showing red signals everywhere. It is the bitter price of betraying the very people who always loved and supported them. The lesson for every major corporation here is a very bitter one. You can deceive some of your customers for a short period of time, but you cannot destroy a legend and expect the public to keep clapping. Authentic brands are built on trust, and once that trust is broken, it is almost impossible to get it back. Jeep is learning this the hard way as their sales numbers continue to slide into a dark and very dangerous territory now. The small and brave 1941 Willys. Jeep still runs perfectly today in many museums and farms across the globe. Meanwhile, the high-tech Jeep you buy today at the dealership will likely be nothing more than electronic scrap metal in less than 15 years. Jeep survived Hitler's army and the most hostile deserts on the planet, but it seems it will not survive its own corporate greed. The legend has been truly defeated today. It is a tragedy to see such a foundational part of the American spirit being sold out for parts. The ruggedness that won wars and built a nation has been traded for fancy upholstery and fragile senses. Jeep used to represent a promise that you could go anywhere and do anything. Now, it represents a fear that you might not even make it back home. The bean counters won the battle, but they have definitely lost the war for the soul. Do you still believe that Jeep can be saved? Or do you think the brand has officially turned into nothing more than plastic and marketing? If you have had a major problem with your own vehicle, please tell your story in the comments below. Let's make some noise so the executives finally hear the truth from the people who actually pay their salaries. Your voice matters in this fight for quality. Don't let them stay silent anymore. The next great empire to fall might be the one you always admired and dreamed of putting in your garage. Subscribe right now to Billion-Dollar Failures so you don't miss our next corporate autopsy and to understand the real world of business. The road for Jeep seems to have come to an end, and the engine has finally stopped knocking. Thanks for watching this far, and we will see you at the next collapse on our list.